Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another toxically masculine episode of The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. And here's your host, Alan Mosley.
Thank you so much for being back for episode something. What episode is this, Blake?
48? 47 or 48?
47 or 48.
Right.
So it's dealers, so it's the audience's choice. If you want this to be episode 47, it will be. But if you're really feeling more 48, that's okay too. I think that's good.
I think that works.
Welcome back for another episode of The Gold Standard. I am your host, Alan Mosley. As always, you can get us on social media, which is facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley. You can find me on Twitter, which is @AlanMMosley, which is probably not a good idea. I just antagonize people. That's all I do.
Yeah.
But you really don't have to do any of that because you can just go to our website, which is thegoldstandardpodcast.com.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing a pretty good job of updating the website.
You have.
Now, look, I'm not going to... I'm going to go off script here for a second.
Okay.
There was a period there around the holidays where I may not have updated the website for some time.
You freaking slacker.
In my defense, it was the holidays, and then we were planning this huge live event that we did here that has not debuted as of this episode.
Okay.
It would have debuted before this episode, but really we're all out of sorts today because we did have a guest coming on for today.
Yes, we did.
And I'm not going to tell on Gene and say that it was him that rescheduled. All I'm going to say is that next week we're going to be doing a double where we have Gene Epstein and Walter Block.
Very cool. That's
going to be tough.
Yeah.
That's going to be so much information going through the airwaves in such a short span of time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to say that's all the gold standard I can take for a while. I think that's what's going to happen. But thank you so much. So since we don't have the guest for today, we're just sort of kind of winging it. But the awesome thing about doing a current events show on lots of different topics is you never run out of anything to talk about.
Oh no, especially not in this last news cycle.
No.
It's been pretty crazy.
So I'm actually going to recap a little bit from last week, and then we're going to go into this week. So first of all, as you already pointed out, go ahead and make your joke. I know you can see it on my face. Go ahead, Blake.
Nice hack job.
Yeah, thank you. So me being in a hurry because I had to look good. I was putting on my suit and tie today, and I wanted to be nice and clean shaven because we were having an interview and a guest and stuff. And I was in a hurry, and when you're in a hurry, you tend to just mutilate yourself.
No, sure.
I'm the villain on The Punisher now. I'm what's the Jigsaw?
Yeah,
that's
Jigsaw.
Me. Yeah, I'm Jigsaw now.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You obviously use wet shaving. I don't. I'm an electric guy. I've always been an electric guy.
Ugh.
All the men in my family have been electric guys. Ugh. So you fall in one of two categories. Either you're the Dollar Shave Club guy, or the guy, or you're the electric guy, with the motor and whatever. So. Yeah.
But I can't do the electric shave because it always feels like it's pulling.
Really?
It always feels like it's constantly, it's like 1,000 little pulls all down your face. I can't do it. It's a mental thing now though. Now that it's happened, now in my mind, as I'm bringing the shaver to my face, I think, oh God, it's going to yank my hair. Oh God. So I can't do it. So I just use a razor. Real men use razors. I said it.
Hey, stop it.
Yeah.
All right. I use motors.
So now that we're done talking about how we shave, the reason we're bringing that up is, so Gillette, everybody knows Gillette, the best a man can get. That's one of those things where it's a good ad campaign, the best a man, because it's engraved in your head, right?
Yeah.
Like if you ever sit back and you think to yourself, well, how do you determine what is and isn't a successful campaign for like whatever product or store or whatever? Think of the ads that 10 years, 20 years down the road, like the slogan is just burnt into your mind. Like everybody knows I'm loving it, McDonald's.
Oh, sure. I love what you do for me.
Yeah. A diamond is forever.
Yeah.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Yeah. And so Gillette, a best a man can get.
Right.
And really, you want to talk about, you had said earlier, we were talking about some different ideas for the show and business and whatnot, and you had said the phrase, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
And what's, in your mind, like what is a stereotypical ad for shave, like razors or shaving cream? Like you got the dude, he's got some hot young lady with him, probably in a convertible, driving down Sunset Boulevard, and she's remarking at how smooth of a shave he has, and well, of course, it's because you see flashback 20 minutes earlier, there he is in his towel. and he's in the mirror and he's doing the shave with the triple blade action or whatever he's got. Like that's the stereotypical ad.
Yeah, it's kind of manly, you know.
But that's okay though. Like it's okay in some ways to have the stereotypical because it's what you've come to expect.
Yeah.
And of course, again, Gillette, a best a man can get. Like everyone knows what that is.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, it's like I can't tell you for certain that I go to the store specifically looking for Gillette and nothing else.
Right.
But I mean, I recognize them.
Yeah.
Like I know what they are.
Yeah.
And so that means it works.
Yeah.
The ad works. And so they decided, no. Let's do something different this week. Let's make like a mini documentary about how all the ways that men make the world worse.
Nice.
And then let's end it with, so hey guys, step your game up. And
step your game up. Step your game up.
So,
from what?
well, hold on. So we're not going to show because we'll probably just get a copyright strike or something. So we're not going to show the ad, but I promise you can go to YouTube and find the Gillette commercial pretty easily.
Right.
And it's got a few different scenes. So you've got the scene of like there's a kid running, like he's being bullied, and there's some other guys chasing him. Or
because
there's
12-year-old shave. Yeah.
There's your stereotypical. There's the dudes on the corner, and one of them's catcalling the hot young woman who's walking by. Yeah. And then there's the young boys who are roughhousing at the
barbecue.
cookout. Yeah, they're having
with
a barbecue.
37 dads standing there on barbecues like robots.
Yeah, but so they're having a cookout, and there's some boys roughhousing, and of course they all like robots repeat the phrase "boys will be boys."
Yeah.
Which that's become like the slogan of toxic masculinity now is "boys will be boys."
I know.
And it's kind of creepy, by the way, how they had all the different people lined up all chanting.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're chanting it like it's a ritual, which is over the top.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad wasn't like that.
And then, of course, finally the commercial ends with chastising men that they should be doing a better job of righting society's ills. And then it goes through the list of, so some guy steps in and prevents the bullying.
Yeah.
Another guy says to the other guy, says, hey, don't do that. He's white knighting. He's white knighting for the random lady walking by. And then, of course, somebody comes and stops the boys from roughhousing and says, hey, be pussies. Don't do that. That's not what he actually says.
Jeez.
And that's the commercial. And so on face value, not looking into it any more than face value, I know a lot of people might say, well, there's nothing wrong with that because they're just saying, well, don't bully.
And that was funny because that was my first reaction. My wife and I sat on the couch and we watched it together. Yeah. And my first reaction is, I can see that. But then you start thinking about it. And you're like, wait a minute. That means that everybody out there believes that men are always that monster man who bullies and encourages his children to fight, and they're like, and like this caveman thing going on. But that's not true.
Well, here's the like a little exercise I like to do, because I'm usually the last person who's going to get up in arms about anything being sexist or racist or discriminatory, because I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. One way to get over those societal ills is to just be like, dude, I don't care. Like you have no control over my life, and you don't live in my head. Thank you. Goodbye. Right. Like that's how you do it.
That's the best advice ever.
But I'll tell you one exercise that I think is good for a situation like this is take that exact same ad, and you can do this for anything. You can do this for a song or a speech, a commercial, whatever. Take that ad, exactly the exact same themes that it has, but replace men with women.
Wow. Yeah.
Take that exact same ad, and instead of it being a bunch of white dudes who are screwing everything up and some random minorities coming in and saying, hey, that's not polite. Yeah. Make it a bunch of gangsta-looking black guys heckling women and chasing poor intellectuals around. Yeah. And have white men step in and say, excuse me, sirs, that's not right. Yeah. Can you imagine the outrage? Yeah. Can you imagine the outrage if that's how they had portrayed it?
It would be
it would be absolutely out of this world. Yeah. I mean, Gillette would be out of business. Yeah. They would be apologizing.
Boycotted by everybody. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so the point being is, and that's not to say that the outrage wouldn't be right. It's just to point out that why is their outrage for one direction, but not the other.
Yeah.
And that maybe is the point that I'm taking away from this, is that if we're going to talk about equality and we're going to talk about, getting over all the isms, getting over race, racism, sexism, whatever, then when you see ads like that, when you see situations like that, because we have one more coming up in the second half here, that people tend to see what they want to see.
Oh, yeah.
And in some sense, there shouldn't be that much outrage from a conservative angle because, dude, it's a commercial for razors. Like, don't allow Gillette to create that much emotion in your brain,
or allow them to instill a moral value in you.
No, both ways. But I mean, I'm not that's not my next article. I can just go ahead and tell the audience at home. Like, I'm not writing a treatise right now on why Gillette is bad because they're just not going to affect me that much.
No.
It's just not.
Yeah.
But vice versa. But we also, again, have to keep in mind that if the roles were reversed, if it were a Gillette women's ad and it was talking about all the ways that women are really kind of dropping the ball and they really need to, it takes a village, as they say, and women, you're really not doing your part. That would be branded as the most sexist, just awful ad campaign that ever existed.
Sure.
And that's fine. Yeah. I'm just saying it goes both ways. Yeah. That's it.
And the knife must always cut both ways.
But you know what? Before we move on to the next piece, I have to give credit to you, Blake. Because you had mentioned the other day, you had said, Alan, we haven't had a meme of the week in a while.
Yeah, we haven't.
This show, I remember tuning into this show, and it had all these funny little segments where they would do like a meme of the week, and then they would have their little guest, and then they would, whatever. That's actually the only segments. But we used to do segments. We're really good at doing segments on Sports Ball. Yeah. Me and Mike do awesome segments on Sports Ball.
Yeah.
And we're moving in a direction of making this show more like your typical like late night format.
Yeah.
And so whereas some people would have their little part where they play a game or they read user questions or whatever, we would have the meme of the week.
Yeah.
But we haven't had one.
We haven't had one for
it's probably
gosh
been
knows how long. Say 8 episodes, 10 episodes.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's probably been about 2 months.
Yeah.
It's probably been about 2 months since
we're a tremendous disappointment.
Yeah, well.
If you can't make fun of yourself, then what's the point?
You know what? I'm
right?
glad that we don't have the studio audience this week. Because I'm going to say this really quick. You know what the worst thing about having a studio audience is?
What's that?
The worst thing about having a studio audience is that sometimes you say something that you think might be really funny, and you only get a few like.
Yeah. You find out what bombing is real fast.
But then you might have a situation where Blake says, "Yeah, Alan, you suck," and everyone goes, "Woo!" And that just burns the house down. You're like, wow, I never knew.
Yeah, so what we should do is just sit here and hurl insults at each other the whole time.
But we have a meme of the week, and it's
awesome.
based on the Gillette ad. So pull this up, Blake, if we can. There it is. So left side, you have, that's the reaction to the Patriot Act. And then, of course, right side, that's the conservative reaction to the Gillette laser commercial. That's so perfect.
That's classic right there.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
my gosh.
That's the real thing. Like, like I said, don't get me wrong. You are well within your right to be outraged by something that's really just over the top and ridiculous. And the Gillette ad was pretty ridiculous, in my opinion. However, it's mostly the conservative side that is feigning the most outrage about the Gillette ad.
Yeah.
And of course, me being the cynic that I am, of course, I would say that, well, I don't remember you guys being half that upset about the bump stock ban. Yeah. I don't remember you guys being half that upset about getting involved in Afghanistan and Iraq and Syria and Yemen and Libya. I don't remember you guys being that upset about the Patriot Act, which genuinely affects your life and liberty today, right now.
Even this moment, yeah.
Gillette does not, in fact, hamper my life and happiness.
No.
They're not going to. I'm not going to allow that to happen. The Patriot Act most certainly can.
Yeah.
And so that's the meaning of the meme. But go back to that real quick. Look at the face of that dog on the left. It's amazing that's the same dog.
Yeah.
It really is. So there you go. So now 8 weeks overdue. We've had a meme of the week. So now we'll have our. Let's look at. Let me look at my phone real quick. So as of recording, because again, we love to break the fourth wall here at the Gold Standard. So we're not actually here right now when you're watching this.
Right.
We did this a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Well,
a week ago.
Like 5 days ago.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on how long it takes Blake to edit.
We're probably doing a different show right now as you're watching this one. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're watching this, we're actually sitting here with Walter and Jeannie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But it's January 23rd on my phone. And so that means we'll have another meme of the week March 3rd.
Yes.
We won't. We'll actually have a meme.
For Pete's sake, we have no idea what's going to happen between here or there anyway. So,
I'm just kidding. We'll actually have a meme of the week like next week.
Oh,
I'm just being a jerk. But that was not the only outrage in our culture from the past news cycle.
No.
We also had the Covington Catholic High School
here we
from
go.
Kentucky.
Oh,
they had a group of students who were up in the nation's capital in D.C. They were there during I believe it was the March for Life.
Yeah.
And someone posted to social media a little clip of these boys in the background with one young man in particular with a MAGA hat on, which I mean, don't get me wrong, he should be drawn and quartered for wearing a MAGA hat. But that beside the point, that's all he's doing. He's not doing anything else.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there wearing the hat with a smirk on his face.
Yeah.
And I mean, who doesn't enjoy a good
That's called face criming now.
No, it's called a shit-eating grin is what it's called, but that's fine. I've been known to partake.
Yes, yeah. In fact, you're quite a master of that particular look. Yes.
That's right. So there's a small clip of him with a Native American man, right up close to him with his drum because reasons.
Yeah.
And supposedly the narrative is that these boys were hurling insults and belittling and denigrating this Native American man.
Right.
But as the news cycle is wont to do, I mean, you know how fast it is nowadays.
Oh, sure, yeah.
15 seconds after that video goes viral, all the celebrities, all the people who like to add their 2 cents to every single topic, kind of like us. Everybody who likes to add their 2 cents is all condemning. First of all, they're all virtue signaling that, well, I am respectful and courteous to the heritage of Native Americans. And genocide was wrong, which it was.
Yeah.
And these boys are all racists, and they should just be executed. Let's just kill them. Let's just kill all these boys.
Yeah.
And of course, in a very short period of time thereafter, a extended video surfaces. Because that's the beautiful thing about these little bad boys right here. The cell phone age has changed the way media works, both for good and bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Bad in the sense that someone can post something framed to fit a narrative.
Sure.
And then the machine of the mainstream media can get to working, and by the time it even stops to take a break, so much disinformation can be out there.
Yeah.
And of course, you know how the media companies work. They will gladly report something incorrect 1,000,000 times, and then if it's incorrect and they decide to make a retraction, the retraction will be reported once on page 17D.
Yeah. At 2 o'clock in the morning.
Somewhere in the middle of the obituaries is the retraction of oh my bad, they weren't racist.
Yeah.
That's how that'll go. All right. And that's what happened here. So the extended video showed that it was actually the boys who were the victim of being heckled and having lots of foul language being thrown at them.
Just because they were there with MAGA hats.
They were there with MAGA hats. They were there during the whole March of Life thing. And I'm not going to name the name of another group that was there, but a vile, just abhorrent, racist group was there. And they were the ones actually throwing a lot of epithets and stuff at the young boys.
Gotcha.
And the young boys, by and large, were maintaining their cool. And let me say real quick, I don't know about you, but you can tell that the world has changed, I guess, or I guess people are more afraid nowadays of ramifications when in some ways I think there shouldn't be so much. I tell you what, if I was a 16-year-old boy and I was there with my friends and some dude got in my face the way that guy did, I'd have dropped him. I'd have knocked that guy's teeth out for him getting in my face
you know,
the way that guy did.
I gotta be honest. I mean, it did him credit to stand there and
Oh,
man
no,
up
it did.
and not drop him on the face
It did.
because
It totally did.
that would have made things worse.
No. I'm just saying that where I come from, back in my day, because I'm so old.
Because you're toxically masculine.
Because I'm toxically masculine. If a dude just gets in your face and you don't know what that guy's going to do. I don't know this person.
Oh, yeah. Boys will be boys, you know.
Dude, I'm serious. If I'm walking down the street and there's some kind of a disturbance or whatever, and some man gets right in your face and is yelling, I'm going to take that as a threat.
Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't you? Because it's in your personal space. You'd be
absolutely,
sure.
absolutely.
But if you do that these days, I mean, you're the bad guy. You don't deserve to defend yourself when someone's yelling in your face because the yelling in your face means they must be right.
As Milton Friedman used to say, maybe it's a good thing we don't get what we deserve.
Yeah,
is what I always say to anyone who brings up that word deserve.
Mm-hmm.
But the point being is and I also want to add, by the way, that dude was totally a plant.
Yeah.
So I think his name was Nathan Phillips. I'd read the Native American gentleman. He's an actor. That was totally staged.
Gotcha.
He was totally trying to antagonize something. He's not dudes. It's ridiculous. But the point being is that again, you have the media machine, the enemy of the people, as Michael Malice would say, just churning out all of this hatred and vitriol towards these boys.
Right.
And the news cycle moves so fast that we're going to be on to a new thing, and a huge chunk of the country is now left instilled with this image of, there was an incident at the Capitol, a bunch of boys were being racist. When that is 1,000% not true.
Right.
It's the opposite of true.
Yeah.
The opposite is what actually took place, but it's too late now. The damage is done, and they do this on purpose. Like this was not a mistake by CNN, NBC, whatever. Right. This is not a mistake. They do this on purpose. They knew what they were doing, and they're still doing it. But the point being here is that how quickly the narrative can move from one to the next. So I remember everybody wanted to get Alex Jones off of social media.
Yeah.
Alex Jones, they wanted to deplatform him off of everything. And one of their main reasonings for that is that Alex Jones is harassing the parents of the victims of the Sandy Hook school shooting. And that's wrong. And so since he's doing that, he should be deplatformed. He should be chastised. He should have his voice removed. Now, however you feel about that whole situation, it's just the point that when people kind of grouped together and the general consensus was this man should not have a platform because he's doing something that we consider to be vile. Okay. Now, obviously, I believe in I believe in the right to free speech. I don't care about amendments. I believe in the natural right to free speech. Yeah. But that being neither here nor there, we also get this awesome commercial from Gillette. And Gillette tells us that if you see an instance of bullying, if you see some kids being thrashed in that way, you should step in. Yeah. But apparently that same logic doesn't apply to the Covington High School boys. No. Isn't that funny how that works? That not even in the span of a week can we have one narrative that tells us that this is wrong, that vile language, hate speech should be considered violence and should be abhorred, and those people should have their platforms removed, and we should be standing up for the victims. And not even a week later, we have a real life instance of this taking place, and the general narrative is to attack the boys, not attack the people with the hate speech who are bullying the boys. Right. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
It is amazing.
And of course, as I have said on the show many times, to conclude, this is actually going to be a really short episode.
Yeah, it is.
But to conclude that point, I've said this on the show many times. I've taken heat for it. I'm going to say it again. This is just more fuel to the fire that shows me these people have no principles.
That's right.
If they actually, and I'm not even debating whose principles are right or wrong. I'm just simply saying if they applied consistency to their own stated principles, whether I agree with them or not, they could not possibly take opposite stances on these issues. They could not possibly. The only way you can have your mind changed at a whim based on what Andrew Costa says is because you have no principles.
That's right. There's no rebuttal to that. Know your principles.
Good.
You just have to.
I'm glad that there's no rebuttal to that, but even if there was, it wouldn't matter because this is my show.
Right. Yeah. And you speak truth.
Yeah. We had a little bit more of that. I'm going to close with this thought. We had a little bit more of that of this last week or so. People being nasty on social media.
Well, they're always nasty on social media. What's the point?
And I don't mean just people like out in the ether. I mean,
Trolls, man.
amongst our community.
Oh, okay.
And people commenting maybe on an article that we had released recently or whatever, saying, well, this is stupid or wrong, or, it's funny that I can actually write a piece, and in the same day, I can have someone say, you're a stupid commie for thinking that, and also have someone say, like, you're a stupid, like, Republican, like you're a racist conservative for thinking that, and you're a leftist commie for thinking that.
Is this in reference to the
same thing I wrote, the same one thing?
You're not going to say what that was?
No.
Okay,
We've already moved.
Right,
I post tons of things every day.
Yes.
And so it just goes to show you the nationwide level of understanding of principles of economics, of philosophy, of all those things, when most people have no idea what I'm talking about. But even of the people who think they know, what do they call that? It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, where the people who know a lot actually underestimate what they know because they realize there's so much information out. They're smart enough to know that there's a lot of information out there, and so they don't overplay their hand. Exactly. And vice versa, the people who know just a little bit think they know everything
and talk the big game.
Yeah. And what you were getting at, what I was referencing, is actually an article I had written recently. I mean, you're talking like it's like 1,200 word article about a historical topic. Right. And it's a historical topic, and so that's the beauty of being a historian and writing about a historical topic, is that on the one hand, it's hindsight, and you're writing, and obviously I have my perspective, and I'm laying out my historical evidence to back up my perspective. Yeah. But none of it's wrong in the sense of it being factually incorrect. Like, obviously I have my take, and you can agree or disagree with my opinion. Sure. But the contents of it is just historical documentation. Right. So if I write that and then you disagree, and I say to you, well, what do you disagree with? And your answer is just wrong. That's stupid. Okay.
But that's not a rebuttal. That's just idiotic.
I love Eric July. I love Eric July because Eric July does this on Twitter. He argues on Twitter way more than I would ever spend arguing with people. But somebody will post, "That's stupid," and he'll reply back, "Okay, name one thing about my piece that you disagree with or don't like, or that's stupid or incorrect. Like, name one part of it that's factually wrong." Yeah. They never respond. Like, that's always the end of the conversation. Yeah, because because there is no conversation. They didn't want to have a conversation. They just wanted to say you were stupid, and then get all the circle jerk off to it, get all their friends to like and share it. I own that guy. I told him how stupid he was. Like, there you go.
Yeah, if something is stupid, at least be smart enough to back up why you think something is stupid. Don't just rebut somebody with an idiotic response and not have the intelligence to say why.
I'll tell you what, if you want to have more information to be able to back things up, to tell people how stupid they are, you can do that by following us on social media, which is facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley.
I like how you did that.
Twitter is that. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I really only do this show to entertain Blake.
That's right.
Who's over, like, you. You can't. Yeah, there he is, right there. I'm poking him right now. That's there. Yeah. It's Twitter's @Alan and Mosley, but you don't have to do any of that because you could just go to our website, which is thegoldstandardpodcast.com. And also, by the way, we are on your favorite podcasting platforms of choice, including iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn. That's right. If you're more of I don't want to look at this guy's fat, ugly face. I just want to listen to his stupid words.
That's a nice hack job, sure, yeah.
Yeah, if that's exactly what you're thinking, you can do that by going to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or TuneIn. And we're a proud product of Little L Productions, along with such other fine programming as Got Arky with Mike Meharry. That's right. Who just did an awesome interview where he had talked to a Mennonite pastor. Nice. It was very, very interesting. And there's also Sports Ball with Mike and Alan, which we're in the bye week now before the Super Bowl. So next week's going to be a big episode. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's Super Bowl time. And then there's also the Sherry Voluntary Show and our companion program, Postcards from Somalia.
That's right.
Is that everything?
That's
I
everything.
think that's everything.
I think you did it.
Well, thank you so much, Gene, for being here. No, I'm just kidding. Gene's going to be here next week, so tune in next week. Gene's going to be next. Actually, the big live show is probably going to be next after this show.
Yes, the big live show.
And then there's going to be the interview with the great Gene Epstein, former editor of Barron's.
That's right.
And then there's going to be the great Walter Block after that.
Very nice.
So we have got a busy next month or so coming up on the Gold Standard.
So stick around. It's going to be a great show. Great set of shows.
Or don't.
Yeah.
Just live your life.
Yeah.
Just do whatever you want.
But please.
But please, if you have time, stick around.
Yep.
Yeah, because I felt like you were telling people what to do.
I always tell people what to do.
Yeah,
I'm
you
a producer.
Yeah, exactly. This is true. People watching at home don't realize that when the camera's not rolling, it's mostly just Blake just beating me with a belt saying, "You said that wrong! You said a swear word! That's stupid! We can't grow this program with you saying shit all the time. Stop it!" That's actually what happened. And then I did it again.
Shame on you, man.
Again, so it's going to happen. Send help. Yeah. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.